Hey there, happy Monday everybody. Tara Christine here, and I'm coming to you with a serious conversation. Today, for the first time in my life, I have made a victim impact statement. Now, let me preface with the fact that I really can't stand the word victim because I don't consider myself to be at all, no matter what has ever happened to me in my lifetime. I am a survivor, and I thrive even because of the things. They certainly have made me stronger and smarter, and I've just grown into a woman that I am very proud of, and I'm still growing. So this latest incident I consider to be another growth process. But the conversation is not had enough, and so I want to start one. I want to make this a thing. An incident back in January while I was bartending on a Friday evening. A new customer that had never been there before came in and was a little bit of trouble from the get-go. And then as the night progressed, I had to talk to him so many times and tell him to keep his hands off of me, that it was not okay to grab me, to touch me, to spank me, so many things. And then one final act of a full hand grab between my legs from behind was the straw that broke the camel's back. And honestly, it shocked me to the point that I did not even react. I mean, I remember hollering a little bit, telling him, "What is wrong with you?" I said that is not all right. You don't touch me. And then I essentially walked away and burst into tears. Told myself I was going to be fine. Told myself, you know what? You've been through this so many times. You're fine. You understand that people suck. It just is a fact. They are going to do things, they are going to hurt you, they're going to say things. We all do it. But it affected me big time. And I wrestled with myself a lot before finally going to the authorities and pressing charges. Just because, you know, it's frightening. It's humiliating. You don't want to, it's just almost, it's easier to tuck it under the rug, like so many other things. And so that is what we often do. And ultimately, I just really wasn't looking for revenge or to punish him. I mean, he's been in jail ever since. That happened in January. I believe he has children. He really has done it to himself. But my whole point is that I can't let somebody walk around thinking that is appropriate behavior. It's not. You can't do that to anybody. And so essentially, that's why I wanted to make my statement today. I wanted him to know without a doubt that I forgive him for what he did. I forgive him for the act. But ultimately, you know, I hope and pray that he can get his life together and on a straight course toward Jesus and living right. And that maybe this ultimately was his learning lesson. And I hope so. And if I get to be a part of that, then praise Jesus. And I would do it again and again and again. So I recorded the statement that I made, and I wanted to share it with you. I had to wait about an hour to even be able to be invited into the Zoom room and speak in the hearing with the judge and prosecutor and attorneys and the clerk. And so my nerves were frazzled, and it's a little 12-minute clip from start to finish, and leave me your comments or questions, and let's start a conversation about this, because we know that it happens so frequently. Like, this is not an isolated incident. I'm not this happens every day, and it has become a conditioning even to where people aren't self-aware enough to realize what they're even doing, to lay a hand on another person and think that that's okay. So I definitely want to bring some awareness to the whole subject. I have daughters, and a son. No one's exempt. It happens to boys as much as it happens to girls, men, women, sons, daughters. It's petrifying and it's tragic, but let's be a voice. Let's raise it loud. It's been a big day. I had to muster a lot of courage, and I am kind of on the fence. I don't even know how I feel about it all, but I wanted to acknowledge this, and I definitely wanted to share the video that I recorded of the whole thing this morning. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a beautiful week.
Miss Rowe, can you hear me? This is the judge.
Yes, I can.
All right. I am on the record. People, State of Michigan versus Jason Wilkinson. 2 files on the court's docket today for sentencing. File 00-9486FH and 20-009505. The record reflects we're holding this sentencing remotely via Zoom due to the COVID-19 virus. Mr. Wilkinson appears by way of polycount from the Alpena County Jail. Mr. Bayat appears on behalf of Mr. Wilkinson as the court-appointed attorney, and Ms. Wyszynski appears on behalf of the People's State of Michigan. I have a pre-sentence investigation report was prepared by Mr. Weaver with the Michigan Department of Corrections. Have you seen a copy of that, Mr. Bayat?
Judge, I have. And for the record, I did send a copy to Mr. Wilkinson. I did meet with him yesterday by polycount to review the report. There are no additions, there are no corrections, and we asked to file the recommendations. There's no objection to the sentencing guideline scoring.
Okay. Same questions, Ms. Wyszynski?
Same answers, Your Honor, no objections, and obviously we will be relying on a victim impact statement during allocation.
Okay. Mr. Bayat, anything you want to say on Mr. Wilkinson's behalf for sentencing?
Judge, again, this is a alcohol-related offense. Kind of uncharacteristic Mr. Wilkinson. My conversations with him, he's very kind of ashamed of his behavior. He's very unlike him. He'll apologize to the court as well. I don't think we'll see Mr. Wilkinson again in this type of situation. Thank you.
Anything you want to say on behalf of Mr. Wilkinson prior to sentencing?
Yes, sir. I just want to say that I apologize for my actions that night. Alcohol did play a big part. But I feel really bad for what I did. It's really, really not the kind of person I am, and I just hope you can accept my apology, and I truly am sorry for my actions that night.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkinson. Ms. Wyszynski from the People for in the way of sentencing.
Yes, Your Honor, I would just note a couple of highlights from the PSI were that obviously alcohol was a factor in this case. However, I believe Ms. Rowe also indicated to police that there may have also been some marijuana use from what she recognized as some symptoms or behaviors of the defendant that night. And so I just need to point out that, we do have a victim in this case, obviously, and it's not simply just an alcohol-related offense, Your Honor. It is a victim case. I want to reiterate that. I know that Your Honor is very much aware, but I think that we can definitely say that alcohol and possibly marijuana played a part in all of this. And so with that, I would ask Ms. Rowe to go ahead and make your statement.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wilkinson, what I need you to know about me is that I have a very long history of people thinking that it's okay to put their hands on me. some much more devastating circumstances than others. I survived, I healed, and I've even thrived through all of it. I've used it to fuel me, to be smarter, to be stronger, to teach my children of the dangers that lurk, the way that some human beings can be. And then you happened, and honestly, through the course of that night, my frustration rose. You were not listening to me. You wouldn't keep your hands off of me. When all was said and done, and I walked away from you that final time, the first thing I said to myself is, Tara, you're fine. You're fine. Don't let him steal any of your life. You've been through this. You are fine. And on a human level, I understand that you were intoxicated. I saw you get more inebriated as the night went on, and you left and you came back. And I understand. I'm a bartender. I go through this a lot. But I had to talk to you an awful lot. And as I said, when all was said and done and I walked away, I wasn't fine. And I came home and I sat in a fog all weekend long battling what to do, because on one hand, it's such a shame that you are doing this to yourself, not just me. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that all of the other times that I have been victimized, which I hate that word, I don't consider myself a victim, but that I have been, I never followed through with pressing charges on anybody. And over the weekend, after you, I kept going back to when I was 16 years old and an old family friend abducted me in the woods, raped me repeatedly, and stealing my virginity, and then left me. I didn't press charges on him, and years later, he went on to do the exact same thing to another young girl named Tara, posing as an undercover officer, and beat her and left her for dead. And then he spent like 16 years in prison. So no matter how I felt about what had happened to me, and even having a basic human understanding that I know you didn't mean it, and I've long forgiven you, I want you to know that. And I hated even pressing charges in the first place. I didn't want to drag this out, but all I could think about were my own children and all the other people that I love and go through things like this. And I just thought, I can't let you think that's okay and ever possibly let it happen again. So I did. I went to the police, and I have been battling with myself about it back and forth a lot, but I know it was the right thing to do, and I can only hope that you find Jesus in all of this and really, really get your life together.
Anything else, Ms. Rowe?
No, I don't think so. I'm happy to be able to say my piece, and seriously, I want you to know that I do forgive you, and I'm praying for you as well. So good luck in everything, Mr. Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe. Anything else from anybody before I pronounce the sentence?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
No charge.
These sentences, court, I'm going to put Mr. Wilkinson on term of probation for 60 months, subject to the following special conditions. He must register as a Michigan, under the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Act, comply with all the requirements of the Act, and the balance of that paragraph 1.11. Under 1.14, you must not enter topless bars or places where there is exotic dancing, stripping, simulation of sexual acts, where public nudity is a source of entertainment. Under 1.15, facilitate sex offender case management meetings. You must waive confidentiality and allow the disclosure and exchange of information between the Michigan Department of Corrections, its authorized agents, and all CMT members. You must not reside, work, or loiter within the student safety zone defined by 1,000 feet of a school property, developmental kindergarten to 12th grade school unless you meet statutory exemption. That's under 1.6. Under 2.0, you must not use, possess alcoholic beverages or other intoxicants. And the balance of that paragraph, under 2.1, Must comply with the requirements of alcohol testing directed by the field agent. Balance of 2.1. 2.2, you must comply with the requirements of drug testing directed by the field agent. And the balance of 2.2. Under 2.4, you must not use, possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia unless prescribed for you by a licensed physician or be anyone you know to possess these items. That's under 2.4. Under 2.8, you must complete outpatient or residential substance abuse treatment when you're referred by the field agent. Under 2.9, you must complete a substance abuse assessment when referred by the field agent. Under 3.3, you must complete mental health, domestic violence, battery intervention, or other recommended treatment following assessment by a qualified community-based service provider. Under 3.7, you must comply with the Michigan Department of Corrections electronic monitoring program and or remote alcohol monitoring when referred by the field agent, reimbursed to state at a rate established by the Michigan Department of Corrections. Under 4.17, you must possess either a valid Michigan driver's license or personal identification card issued by the Michigan Secretary of State. Under 4.18, you must not engage in any assaultive, abusive, threatening, or intimidating behavior. Under 4.19, you must not have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact without permission of the field agent with anyone you know to have a felony record. The balance of that paragraph. Under 4.22, you must comply with written or verbal orders made by the field agent. Under 4.23, you must allow the field agent into your residence at any time for probation supervision. Under 4.24, you must submit to a search of your personal property, including but not limited to your vehicle, residence, and computer, without need of a warrant if the field agent has reasonable cause to believe you have items which violate the conditions of your probation. Under 4.25, you must report any arrest or police contact, loss of employment, change of residence to the field agent within 24 hours, weekends and holidays accepted. Under 4.5, you must not have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Tara Rowe, either directly through another person. You must not be within 500 feet of her residence, school, or place of employment. Under 6.4, you must make a genuine effort to find and maintain legitimate employment at a minimum of 30 hours per week, unless engaged in an alternative program approved by the field agent. The balance of that paragraph, you must serve 4 months in jail, credit for 116 days served. Must pay a state court cost of $68. You must comply with DNA testing as ordered by the court. You must pay a crime victim's assessment of $130. You must pay a supervision fee of $180 as ordered by the court, the rate of $30 a month. You must pay court costs of $700, attorney fees of $350, fines, costs, and fees not paid within 56 days of the due date are subject to a 20% penalty on the amount owed. If at any time you are unable to make a payment or your payment will be late, you must call the Alpena County Clerk's office. You may be detained for up to 72 hours without a warrant by a circuit court probation agent or a law enforcement officer for an alleged violation of probation. Any incidents of misconduct at the county jail while you are incarcerated shall constitute a violation of your probation, may cause the defendant to be brought before the court for probation violation. Under file number 20-9505, you must serve 116 days in jail, credit for 116 days served, pay state court cost of $50, crime victim rights assessment of $75, and a fine of $500. You have a right to appeal this sentence. You have 42 days to file a request for appeal. If you cannot afford an attorney and are eligible for court-appointed attorney services, the court will appoint an attorney for you for appellate purposes. Do you have any questions, Mr. Wilkinson?
No, sir.
Okay, anything else for the record, Ms. Nishinsky?
No, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, that's all for today. Off the record, the Wilkinson matter.
Thank you, Ms. Rowe.
Yes, thank you.